Good morning, gang. Happy Wednesday morning. So it seems to be the topic of conversation all week so far has been your money. And it's going to continue this morning because still important. Uh, Today's going to be an interesting day, at least on the financial side, amongst other things. But CPI numbers, inflation numbers, come out this morning. We all know they're skewed and everything like that, but we get whatever the official number is, and it'll probably be twisted to, like a pretzel again to make Joe look good. We all know the reality of it. The other thing that's come up is, of course, we had yesterday the meeting between Speaker of the House McCarthy and the potato in chief discussing what to do about the debt limit, paying the bills. Okay. And of course, I've talked about the possible really figuring out some creative way of interpreting the 14th Amendment that Joe could do something there and just raise the debt limit by executive order. I mean, even constitutional lawyers will tell you, no, we can't. But, Joe doesn't follow the Constitution anyway, so what's the difference? But there is a real interesting way that the government could fund themselves for a little bit, okay, to the tune of about $500 billion. So I'm going to give you this. This is a possibility and just something to pay attention to. Now, you all know the stories back 1933, 1934, and FDR confiscating all the gold in the United States and pegging the price of gold to $35 an ounce, right? And we know how that all worked. And then, of course, Nixon took us off the gold standard, everything like that. Okay, but going back to 33, 34. So what happened? And I mean, obviously, the government's not paying the debt in gold bullion. They're not, sending bars somewhere or whatever. They're converting it to dollars. And the Fifth Amendment prohibits unlawful search and seizure, right? Okay. So what the government did was they issued to the Treasury a gold certificate, basically an IOU, saying this is the value of gold right now. We want the cash in exchange for it. So that's basically how it happened. Now put this into how it works in your life. All right. Let's say you bought your house in the 1990s for $100,000. Okay. And so your property tax is, or let's put it this way, your property value was $100,000 in the 1990s, because obviously property value and the value of your house are different. But so what was taxable to you was the value of $100,000. Over the course of the last 30 years, the value of your property has gone up, hopefully, unless, of course, you live in Portland. And so now your taxes are higher. It's called marking to market. All right. And that's what they've done. So they take your property, they mark it to market, and then they tax you appropriately. The government's trying to do something similar. So back then, they issued this gold certificate to the Treasury, okay, saying that gold was worth $35 an hour, or $35 an hour, $35 an ounce. There you go. Yeah, that'll tell you how money's changed. Well, this isn't the first time we've ever had an issue with not being able to pay the bills, right? If we go back to 1953, Dwight D. Eisenhower, they had the same problem. The government was on the verge of going broke. And so what did the government do? The government issued a new certificate of deposit to the Treasury, marking to market the price of gold at the price of where it was at that point, which was $42.22 an ounce. And the government got the cash very quickly of the difference between $35 and $42.22. Okay? Now, you think about it and go, okay, $7.22 wasn't a whole lot of money. But again, we're talking the difference between 1930s dollars and 1950s dollars. All right. Now we're talking about 70 years later. Well, this morning the price of gold is $2,036. And the government still has this deposit certificate on file with the Treasury at 42.22. Literally, all the government has to do is call up the Treasury and say, we're issuing you a new certificate marking to market the price of gold as it is today, $20.36. Okay? We want the difference in cash between 2036 and 42.22, or about $2,000 per ounce times the 8,000 ounces that we supposedly have. Okay, remember, this hasn't been audited since 1953 either, though the catch is this could very much lead to an audit of gold, which is why it might not happen, because none of us know if the gold's actually there, right? Okay, nobody really knows how much is there. But if they did that, the Treasury would all of a sudden have an influx of about $500 billion. And that would pay off the debt. Not pay off the debt, but pay off the interest on the debt, at least for a few months, okay? And allow Biden some more time to stomp his feet and have his little temper tantrum going, we're getting a clean one, we're doing it my way, and that's it, right? Okay. That's a possibility. That's something to watch. Now, it pays the bills. It would also drive inflation through the roof, okay? But on creative accounting. On paper, everything works fine. Basically, this would be creating, $1.6 trillion or whatever would be, however much, yada, yada, yada. So that's just something to look at. They're going to do some real massaging of the numbers on how to do this, because the way I look at it is this. This is do or die for both parties. Whoever caves loses big time, okay, probably in 2024. The Democrats are backed up against a wall. Joe is backed up against a wall. He's demanding a clean debt ceiling hike. Okay. The Republicans are saying no. The Republicans have passed a bill in the House. They've come up with a solution. The Democrats are stopping that solution. So now it depends on who caves. If Biden caves and gives the Republicans what they want, which is pretty much the better of the two solutions, it's devastating for Joe and for the Democrats. If McCarthy caves and says, okay, the hell with what we passed, we'll give you the clean hike, you can forget about the Republicans winning anything in 2024. The presidency, the Congress, anything like that, for the simple reason that everybody's going to say the same thing that always happens. All talk, no action out of the Republican Party. They need to stand their ground. And, both sides are digging their heels in, which you expect, okay? Of course, typical Democrat policies dig their heels in on stupid ideas. Hey, the country's collapsing. Let's borrow more money and spend more money we don't have. Imagine calling up your bank and saying, yeah, I understand I'm behind on my mortgage and I'm behind on my car payment. And, within 3 weeks, you're going to foreclose on my house and repossess my car. So, my solution is loan me some more money so I can pay off those debts. That's literally what the government's doing right now. But this idea, albeit as screwy as it is possible and has been done before. It would devastate the bond market. It would, We're going to see a complete, utter crushing of the bond market and the stock market here in the next few weeks. There's no doubt about that. We'll just see how this one all plays out and what the inevitable solution is coming out of Washington to handle this. They always seem to raise the debt limit, okay? One day it's not going to happen. What we need to prep for is the fact that they don't come up with a solution. And it's more than closing the parks and not paying the military. It's more to the tune of destroying the economy, destroying the stock market, destroying the bond market, destroying the banking system. Y'all know we are teetering on the edge here with the entire U.S. financial system. We can't pay the bills. When a household can't pay the bills, when a person can't pay the bills, they file bankruptcy. We're close to that as a country. Can you imagine how the lifestyle you live, how the standing of the United States in the world goes if the United States basically goes bankrupt? You talk about not being the world reserve currency anymore. Talk about the dollar not being a currency anymore, that nobody wants it. Not China, not Ethiopia, not Brazil. I'm talking about the guy at the hardware store or Walmart or the gas station doesn't want US dollars anymore. Everybody tells us, talks about, including myself, the Weimar Republic, Venezuela, Lebanon, Zimbabwe, whatever it is. We are that close, guys. It's imperative that you have real money, not real currency, because currency is just a piece of paper. But when the government is even looking at quietly, because they keep trying to say gold is just a relic of the past, it's not important. The reason that they wouldn't do this is because then they'd have to acknowledge that gold is real money and that dollars are currency that's worthless. Whatever little you can get, gold, silver, whatever, where do you think all this money that's coming out of the banks? Like I said, I think last night in the live stream, deposits in the U.S. banks are down 5%. That's a lot, guys. There's 5% less money in U.S. banks today than there was January 1st. Okay? People are taking the money out. Where do you think it's going? They're putting it in gold and silver. Gold and silver price is going up. You guys have seen that. Every country in the world, every equivalent to a Federal Reserve is buying gold. Okay? Why? Because they all see it happening, that there is a collapse inevitably in front of us. Don't be the one left holding the bag going, I can't afford it, I don't want to do it, whatever it would be. Silver's still cheap, $25 an ounce or there, whatever it is. If you've got $100, go buy 4 ounces of silver. You'll be happy you did. Pinball out.